Welcome to the podcast, Susan.
Hi, Michelle. I love what you're doing so much, helping mommies become mommies. That's so great.
Same, I'm so excited to talk to you today. I always start with an origin story, so I would love for you to introduce yourself, give us your background, and what got you into the work that you're doing.
Oh, sure. I think it's probably something that's very relatable, but I wish it wasn't. I had been married to my husband for 11 years and I'd never had an orgasm from intercourse. And I was avoiding him for sex and he was super sad and begging didn't work and honeydews didn't work. And I just wasn't really, I just couldn't anymore. And I didn't want to get divorced from him, but he thought there was something wrong with me and I thought there was something wrong with me. And little did we know, we just didn't know what we were doing like everybody because we don't get taught orgasmic lovemaking. And so we did a couple things. We went to marriage therapy and that was okay, not great. They didn't know much about sex. Um, we did a lot of personal growth work, which helped us become honest with each other, which was really helpful. And then we went to sex workshops and went, oh my God, I'm having fantastic sex now. I'm having orgasms. It was super easy to learn. Why doesn't everybody learn this? And that was what made my husband and I start a company 2 decades ago called Personal Life Media, where we brought the work of our mentors online so that any couple or single anywhere in the world who wanted to learn how to have heart connected, passionate, conscious love making could learn how easy the techniques are because our human operating system wants to have orgasmic pleasure. It just doesn't know what to do until we do it. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been having super hot sex that keeps getting better for the
I
last
love
two
it.
decades.
Yes. Awesome. That's amazing. And it's true. It is common. It's more common than people realize. And I
Yeah.
think people feel like they're alone and they don't realize that this is common. But not only that, we're on a fertility podcast and there's so many people who have this like whole timed mechanical, it's become so mechanical where it's just leading to baby and that's become all it is. And sometimes I hear the husbands get frustrated, the women get frustrated. So it takes the joy out of the intimacy. So I think that this is such an important topic that we're going to be talking about today because I think a lot of people can relate. Probably the majority of the patients that come into my office say the same thing and they feel like it's become all about the baby and nothing like it's just they don't have the energy even also from all the stress to become more intimate. So I would love to talk about like what people can do to support that connection.
It is so easy. I'm going to fix the problem in the next 40 minutes.
I love that.
Um,
Yes.
I
I
call
love you. You're
this,
fun.
oh, girl, you don't even know. I call this sexy fertility, planting the seeds for a lifetime of passion. Super silly little title about this conversation, but I actually did a keynote for a women's event, a women's fertility event. And it went so well that I decided to have my publicist reach out to fertility podcasts like yourselves. And man, we sent out one email to fertility podcasts and everybody was like, that's what we need.
Yeah,
So it's huge. And
it's
I couldn't
true.
have done it without 20 years of teaching people how to transform having sex into making love. And all the little tips and tricks that I know for people not even trying to conceive, but who had gotten tired of having sex together. They were in a sexless marriage that was not pleasurable for her or whatever. And it's really, really a very pretty simple strategy. And I think that's the most important thing is that you're at a fork in the road when you're working on your conception And yeah, it's stressful, but it's also an opportunity, and it really depends on your mindset. And when you have the mindset, oh, I'm planting the seeds for a lifetime of passion through this process. I'm going to take everything that we used to do and how we used to have sex is going to go out the window, and I'm going to take a new reframe on what my sex life with my partner is like starting now. And it's just going to keep getting better our whole lives long from here. That's what I'm really doing. And what it really comes down to is that you have to schedule sex when you're trying to conceive, because you got to hit your ovulatory windows. However, when sexperts come in and they're like, well, you just schedule sex and you have it, that'll fix the sex with marriage problem. I'm like, that does not work, because she doesn't want to do it, because it's a chore. It's not pleasurable. It's a job, not a vacation. And so how do you turn it into this incredible experience that you share together, where you go through it and you're having so much fun that, number one, it's easy to conceive because you're having fun instead of being stressed out about it. And number two, you actually look forward to the times when you have to try to make the baby, and you end up having more times than you have to because you're having so much fun.
I love it.
That's the trick, making it fun and pleasurable. And the way that you do that is through working on learning new skills together in the bedroom while you're trying to conceive. So it's not, we have to have intercourse. It's, oh, let's try the heart-tongue method. Let's try glissando. Let's try crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Let's try the feline grind. Let's try penis pivots. Let's try pompoir. Let's try this position, that position, this position, that position. Let's try to have an expanded orgasm date. Let's start with Yoni massage. Let's find my G-spot. Let's do G-spot de-armoring. Let's try this sex toy. Let's do a lingerie photo shoot with me and some of, holding teddy bears or whatever. Like, the minute you start thinking about it as like a couple's project, an educational learning environment, and you move away from it being, oh, we've got to have intercourse and I've got to ejaculate inside you. When you get out of the mechanics and you get into the pleasure, it really becomes fun. So some of the things that I want to talk about today are things like what I consider to be the 3 keys to conception from a sexpert's perspective. And I'd also like to talk about the benefits of oxytocin for fertility.
Yes, I actually talk a lot about this, and I love that you're bringing this up.
I want to talk to you about it because that is interesting. I'm glad you are talking about that. I also want to talk about how to get her turned on, what a woman's arousal profile is like compared to her male-bodied partner, and how to slow down to the female body's pace to get even further than you've ever gotten in your sex life. When you go on a man's pace, you don't make it very far. It's like you burning out a bright star. When you go on a woman's pace, it's like a supernova, right? It's a nebula of supernovas. And then I would like to talk about a couple of different, basically just some rules of thumb for having success. I think that would be really important too. So I want to give you the construct, give you some tools, give you a download, a worksheet to work with. And I think that would probably take us right through to the end of the show. If that sounds good to you.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, good.
I'm sure everybody's like, tell me, please.
All right. Well, I would say let's start with the 3 keys to conception. They are relaxation, connection, and engorgement. Does any of that surprise you that that's what I said?
No, because I talk about the nervous system, and I think that also the nervous system communicates. So all of these things, as from my background, I'm all about it, and nitric oxide and all of that. Yeah.
So the relaxation piece of it is very, very important because if you're stressed out, you're going to struggle to conceive.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Yoni massage for relaxation. Are you familiar with Yoni massage?
Not as much.
Okay. So are you familiar with the word Yoni?
Yes.
Okay, great. So for your listeners who might not be, Yoni, Yoni, is a Sanskrit word that means the portal. And it's really the word that I like to use for the female urogenital system. So instead of saying vagina, which is just the internal part, which feels kind of patriarchal to me, because it doesn't include our pleasure areas of what, obviously the vagina is a pleasure area, but it's not the only one. So I also really like, the clitoris, the urethral sponge, the perineal sponge, the labia, the clitoral hood, the mons, all of those things need to be pleasured so that, we're very familiar with the fact that men have these erectile tissue structures in their penis, these 3 long tubes of spongy tissue that get erect very quickly when blood flows in, when he gets turned on. But we women have the same amount of erectile tissue that's in our men's penises.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrapped around our vaginal cavern. It starts at the clitoral tip, clitoral shaft, clitoral hood, the mons, the inner labia, the outer labia, the vestibule, the introital sphincter, the vaginal cavern, including the periurethral sponge, which is called a G-spot, perineal sponge on the bottom, and the entire vaginal system, including the cervical dome, everything is extremely orgasmic when it's activated. And it needs to be activated or waken up so that the nerves send signals to the brain, the somatosensory cortex, which is the part of the brain that processes the sensation as pleasure or pain or shame or numbness. And you can transform the pain and shame and numbness into pleasure with loving touch. So when you do a yoni massage, you're basically giving a woman a genital massage. You're lying her down, you're holding her, you're kissing her, you're letting her get the issues of her day out of her system, talking about anything that needs to be cleared, having clearing conversations, checking in, connecting hearts. And then you can give her whatever she needs, a foot rub, a neck rub, a butt rub, a belly rub, a breast massage. But you can also offer her a yoni massage. And yoni is basically an external, and it can also be internal, vulval vaginal massage using some nice oils. I like 2 ones that I really recommend. One of the things I don't like about lubes, sexual lubricants are an FDA class 2 category of product, and they must have preservatives in them. I don't mind that. I mean, there's some decent preservatives, but the problem is that now lubes are kind of like our ultra processed foods. We used to use jojoba, cocoa butter, things like that, organic almond, avocado oil, CBD oil, MCT oil, things like that. But then the big brands got a hold of these things and they filled them with garbagey chemical crap. And if you wouldn't put it in,
Parabens sometimes. Yeah. No good.
forever chemicals, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't put it in your mouth, don't put it in your yoni. Don't put
Yeah.
it
And some
inside
of them are not fertility friendly.
Not at all. They're endocrine disruptors.
Yeah.
They're disgusting.
Yeah.
So there's 2 I like. This one is called the Foria Pleasure Protocol. It's at pleasureprotocol.com. I can have this sent to you. It has these intimacy melts that melt up inside the vaginal canal so that you don't have to try to get lube up there, because when you're a little nervous, you're a little dry. And then their arousal oil goes on the outer vulval area to awaken that tissue. And then there's sex oil for all the slide and glide that you want. I also like another product that's called...
And those are sperm friendly?
Yes, sperm
Awesome.
friendly.
Perfect.
This is Nude Pleasures, and this is my Lovers Bundle, and it includes, and I'll get you links for this and all this stuff. it gives you a CBD based intimacy oil. There's a little light fragrance from essential oils. That's it. And what I love about it is that it also comes with some libido botanicals. It comes with vitality and stamina supplements. They're 100% natural. They're simply botanicals and a mushroom complex. You can take them when you know you're moving into your window of fertility,
Yeah.
and it'll just help with blood flow, engorgement, and desire.
Nice.
And I think that I'll take help from the plant kingdom. Thank you very much for some natural products. So the Lovers Bundle, the Pleasure Protocol, these are very, very good products. Remind me at the end if you'd like to have them sent, and I'll send them off to you.
Yeah, of
So I
course.
think relaxation is really, how do you get her out of her head and into her body and
Mm-hmm.
settling her nervous system and lowering her cortisol. You do that through relaxation and connection. And a yoni massage and holding her really helps. It's not like you're just jumping in bed and sticking your penis inside her and pumping away and ejaculating. That's not what you want. You want to make a baby in a beautiful, heart connected environment. So that I think is really important because it's going to open her heart and open her yoni and open her to the possibility of becoming with child. The third key to contraception is this engorgement, getting all of that tissue really plumped up in her vulvovaginal system, in her yoni, by manually massaging with these oils. It's almost like a pleasure ritual that she can just relax into, because for him, it takes him 2 minutes to get an erection, but for her, it takes her about 20. And that's because though we have the same amount of that spongy tissue that needs to fill with blood to increase more surface area, to send more signals of pleasure to the big brain, our number one sex organ, we have them in nooks and crannies, not in straight tubes down a penis. And so
Mm.
they have to flow in and seep in, which is why nitric oxide is
Mm-hmm.
so important.
Yeah.
Men use these PDE5 inhibitors like Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis, which help them open those channels and get that blood flowing in there. But for women, it's really also just very beneficial to take a nitric oxide supplement. So, with your permission, I would like to give away a food derived, organic food, fruit and vegetable derived nitric oxide supplement to heighten the blood flow, to increase the engorgement. So, as the mom to be, we're getting our lady boner, our clitoral erection, our labial are plump, our labia are plumping up. Everything's getting rich and luscious, and everything feels good, and it all works better. Can I give a link for
Of
that?
course.
So you'd get a free bottle. I use this just on podcasts. It's getflownow.com/the
Wholesome fertility.
wholesome fertility.
Yes,
So
it's in the show notes if anybody wants to find it.
yes. So it's just Get Flow Now. That's the name of the product, Flow Nitric Oxide Booster. Getflownow. Oh no, it's Get Flow Free. Let me do it again.
I have it here, right? Yeah,
Getflowfree.com the wholesome fertility.
that's right.
And that'll get you a free bottle. And I would take those honestly for as long as you want, because once your clitoris gets engorged and it feels as good as it feels, you're going to be like, yeah, I'll be pretty much taking this every time I have sex now. And you want to take it at night or the morning, but you can also take it 20 minutes before lovemaking, before your date. So relaxation, connection, and engorgement are the three keys to contraception. All three of those really help a lot.
Awesome. I love that. And quick question. So we talk about the female. What if sometimes I have couples coming in and the male has a hard time with performance.
Yes. Well, anytime he has performance anxiety and he's stressed, he's going to worry too. And he's going to feel like he needs to make this instant erection because his job is to ejaculate and get you pregnant. So I really feel like the relaxation, the holding is going to help him a lot. The connection, getting things off your chest, getting your hearts reconnected. And then as he's giving you a yoni massage, one of the things that you can also do is you can give him a little lingam massage afterward. Lingam is the tantric lovemaking word for penis. And that, with the beautiful oils, the pleasure protocol or the lover's bundle, and then that's going to help him gain his erection because he's more relaxed afterward. If he has erectile dysfunction specifically, and it's not just pressure, I recommend the nitric oxide, the getflowfree.com.
So that's good for men and women.
It's men and women. We all have the same parts.
Yeah.
And I recommend using a vacuum erection device, a penis pump, and getting Gainswave treatments. If he has ED, you can reverse it. And the penis pump that I recommend is at pumpswork.com, and you need to give him some space to pump. But if he pumps a couple of times a week, it'll really help with his firmness and blood flow in his penis. And then if that's not enough and he's quite erectilely challenged, if you will, then find a Gainswave practitioner in your area. Gainswave.com/Susan will have a directory, but what it also has, and I don't get paid for this, but I have a custom page for it because I did get a 7th treatment free for my fans and followers. And so if you go to Gainswave.com/Susan, GAINSWAVE, you will get a promo code and you'll be able to find a doctor in your area that can do these acoustic wave treatments to the penis, which rejuvenate the penile tissue and work perfectly in conjunction with the penis pumping and the nitric oxide. So if he shows up at a Gainswave doctor and he's like, I've been doing penis pumping and I've been taking nitric oxide and I'm still not as hard as I want to be, I'm still not as sure I can get as hard as I want, your Gainswave doctor is going to be like, that was good advice. Wow, you've saved me a lot of time because I was going to have you do those things too. So that's the stack for getting back your erectile function.
Yeah, because I have heard that, and I imagine it's very frustrating because the women are like, okay, well, we have like this window, and now I think, there was a lot of pressure on the men, and I think a lot of it's psychological because they feel like they have to perform.
Exactly.
So I think it really impacts both partners.
Yes.
And then talk about oxytocin, one of my favorite topics, because
oh my God,
I say the same thing, and it's not. You probably saw there's not a lot of research on it for fertility. They always talk about it for labor, not so much for fertility.
Well, there's a couple things. One, it creates uterine receptivity. Mm-hmm. So you also get improved lubrication and increased cervical mucosal production, which aids in, moving the sperm up toward the cervix.
Yes, so because of the contraction. Important. Now, before we go into this, talk about what oxytocin is, just for people who are hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, oxytocin is not OxyContin. Yes. It's not a painkiller.
Right. Different oxy.
It's a hormone. It's a master hormone. It's actually a master signaling molecule in your body. It actually regulates a lot of your estrogen modulation as well. It's also kind of, you could think about it like the antidote to cortisol. It lowers your stress. Mm-hmm. And cortisol is a fertility blocker. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough oxytocin. And the problem is that oxytocin it's the hormone that definitely bonds you to your infant. You make it during breastfeeding. You make it during skin-to-skin contact with your male partner. Women are generating more oxytocin than their male partners, so men really need it from us to lower their stress, which is why sex lowers their stress. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest reasons. There's many reasons, but that's an important one. And then oxytocin is really interesting because it's made by your adrenals and your gut together. So you know how so much of our hormones are made in our gut, not just, in our adrenals and things like that, or our ovaries for estrogen, or our testicles for testosterone, or what have you. It's interesting that oxytocin is a very fragile molecule because the bacteria that makes it is a very delicate bacteria called Lactobacillus reuteri. And it's a milk based, lactobacillus, and like lacto, like milk. And anytime we've taken antibiotics, we've killed off a lot, if not all, of our Lactobacillus reuteri. And we've all pretty much been subject to having to take antibiotics in the modern world. And so we tend to be low oxytocin producers. And when you start to feed your gut with Lactobacillus reuteri, you start to generate oxytocin again. And then all of a sudden you feel closer to your husband, you feel closer to your other children, you feel closer to your family, you feel closer to your friends, you start to find awe in things, you tend to feel more emotion, positive, pro-social emotions. People annoy you less, which we need in our world today. Because there's a lot of external forces irking the shit out of all of us right now, and that's a problem. We also need it to appreciate art and nature and beauty, and we start to lose that, and then it attenuates our happiness, and then we feel a little depressed. And so it's very good for feeling distant, disconnected, depressed, sad, annoyed by people, stressed out. And the way that I do it is I follow Dr. William Davis's recipes for the yogurt and I'd be happy to introduce you to Dr. Bill. He is such a doll.
Was he, did he write Super Gut?
Yeah, Super Gut, Wheat Belly,
I read
Undoctored.
That. Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I'll introduce you to him. He will do your show. He's the most beautiful man. I love him so much.
Yeah, his book was fascinating.
Yep. He is, and he taught me and a million other women how to make oxytocin yogurt at home. And I use a Luvelli maker, and I just inoculate. I use milk, but you can also use nut milks, because I also make nut milk at home. I make it with my almond
coconut
cow.
milk. Yeah,
coconut milk. I just don't like all the trash from all the milk containers. So I just make my own. I don't want the thickeners and all the garbage in it.
Exactly. No, but they have, I found Native Forest. They do not add anything and it's organic coconut milk.
Oh, that's good. And you're still making trash.
Well,
you're still filling up a landfill.
Right. This is true. This is true. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, making your own nut milk is the easiest thing in the world with an almond cow nut milk maker. You just throw the nuts in with some water, it spins it up, and you got nut milk.
That's awesome.
That's great. And what's nice is you can make your nut milk combinations. Like you can put a little macadamia nut in there.
What is that called?
Cashews. It's called the almond cow.
Oh, that's awesome. I never heard of that.
It's so freaking good.
This is why I love having this podcast. I learned
you learn so many things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I make my own yogurt. I make it with half and half because I like the fat, because I like that fatty 15 pentadecanoic acid, which is so good for your heart health. That comes from fat milk, but it's made into yogurt, so it's good for you.
Yeah.
And it's inoculated with the Lactobacillus reuteri, which I bake mine for 48 hours. And on 100 degrees. And so it's high colonizing units. So you're getting a lot of reuteri. And so sometimes some days I'll make like yogurt with berries, a little bit of like sprouted granola, and my collagen powder and my creatine and my protein whey. And I mix it all together.
That's amazing.
And I eat it for breakfast.
That's awesome.
But this morning I had a bunch of cut up peaches. And so I made a peach smoothie with my almond cow almond milk, my Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt, and then all those other powders that I put in it, that I use for my health, for my bodybuilding and my
It's a lot
strength.
easier than it sounds. I
It's
will
so
say this.
easy.
If anybody's
You got a
listening
stack
to
of powder
this,
things. You throw them in with
it's
some nut milk
so
and some
easy.
yogurt and some fruit, and you're done, man.
Yeah, they have
And
yogurt makers on Amazon. You can find all kinds, and it's just basically keeps it at a certain temperature
yeah,
for 2 days.
yeah. The
Yeah,
one I recommend is Luvele,
Luvele.
Luvele, because it will do 100-degree temperature hold.
Mm-hmm.
It does 100, 100, it does it like 80 something, 100 and 104. Most yogurt makers make yogurt really fast, and so they're at too high a temperature and they kill off the lactobacillus reuteri. That's how delicate it is.
Right.
Once you get your oxytocin stores reestablished, it changes your life. It's nuts when you go from being low in oxytocin to high in oxytocin. You literally shift your joy. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I think oxytocin is very important for women trying to conceive, but it's also just important for all's y'alls, right? Like feed it to your husband, feed it to your kids.
Yeah.
It's super good.
It's so good. I can't even tell you. So it's so interesting because oxytocin raises around ovulation and it raises around for women and it raises after orgasm. And there's just, it has to have an element for conception. In Chinese medicine, there's a direct relation and connection between the heart and the uterus. And oxytocin is the love hormone, opens the heart. So in order
It
to
opens the
open the
heart.
uterus, you need to open the heart. So when do we open the uterus? We open it for menstruation, we open it to receive life, and we open it to give life. Once you have life, you open it for labor. And what does oxytocin do? It actually starts the labor process and contractions. So there's so much more to oxytocin than people are hearing. And I find it fascinating. I love that you're talking about this because not everybody talks about this.
Yeah. Well, Bill taught me everything. Bill and Dr. Lindsay Berkson. I don't know if you know Dr. Lindsay Devaki Berkson. I could introduce you to her too.
Yeah, that
She
would be
is
great.
a hormone scholar. She wrote a really good book on oxytocin, or she wrote a really good book on hormones called Sexy Brain, which is really interesting. And
That's
she's
great.
working on a book on oxytocin, as is Bill. So, it's just we're gonna become more and more and more aware of the benefits of oxytocin. It changed my life. Like I'm
Yeah.
an entirely different, happier, more calm, more grounded, more in love person. Now it has really opened my heart.
That's amazing.
My
And I think
life is
that that's
better.
what it is. It's like you can really, and this is what I always say. I say it sounds crazy for people who are really in the thick of it and kind of stressed out through the fertility journey when you're first initially going through the doctor's visits and everything gets taken out, like almost the romance of life gets taken out.
Yeah.
But I say that there can be a time where you can actually find that joy back before baby, before having that goal. And just having that part, the joy is what really will open you up even more to that conception. And there's a study that was even done on laughter therapy and how laughter therapy improves the chances of conception where IVF transfers succeeding. So it's really fascinating. And that also opens the heart. It also opens that joy and that ultimately when we're in that state of joy, we're present in the present moment. It's almost like this is what comes to my mind. Stop and smell the orgasm.
Ah, that's so cute. Yeah, I think I would have been a better mother. Not that I was a bad mother. I was a good mother. But I would have had more joy in my motherhood had I had better oxytocin stores. They were very, I can tell, I know they were low compared to how I feel now that
Hmm.
I've reestablished my oxytocin stores and I eat that yogurt.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a very interesting thing is that you're also going to enjoy motherhood more if you reestablish your oxytocin production.
Hmm. So
And you'll be
fascinating.
less annoyed by your husband, which is helpful too.
Of course. You'll be less annoyed by a lot of things.
Everything, all
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
It is really nice. And I
Mm-hmm.
will also meditation. I'm very big on Joe Dispenza. And one of the things that he talks about a lot in his retreats or his meditations, he really focuses on the heart center and heart math. And so when
Yeah.
you're connecting and having that, and even like the meta meditation, so when you get into this kind of state of loving, even cuddling with your pet, those kind of things
Yeah, that
naturally
counts.
can induce oxytocin.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I was thinking about, when I started this conversation with you, I said, what I do is I write heart connected, conscious, passionate love making techniques. And that's literally, I've said that phrase a gazillion times because that's what I do. That's like my tagline. I transform having sex into making love.
Yes, I love
Because
that.
all we see is porn, male dominated views of what sexuality is, intercourse or oriented. So, like me coming here on your show and talking about eating yogurt and having yoni massages is a very different experience. And having, sex dates where you learn things while you're making love rather than you're just doing the old,
Yeah,
which you do that for 11 years and tell me if you want to still have sex with your husband. I didn't. It wasn't good enough for me to just do that. Even if I had one orgasm, it wouldn't have been enough. I
yeah.
like too many other things. I need a lot more fun in bed. And speaking of fun, here's a little piece of wisdom that was handed down, which goes exactly with what you were saying. And that is that when we were trying to conceive and we struggled for a few years, my girlfriend said, well, what we did when we were trying to get pregnant, we struggled was we would make love and then I would lie there and I would put my butt up on a pillow and my husband and I would say, go guys, go, go guys, go. And we would do this little like chant to encourage the sperm to make it up through the cervix and impregnate
I
me.
love.
And we did that one time and I conceived after years of trying from go guys
Wow.
go, just from having fun with it,
Yeah,
relaxing
yeah.
and having fun. It also helped that I quit my entrepreneurial job and I got a job with a company and I got pregnant almost right away because I didn't have to make payroll every week anymore, which was stressful
It's
for
you got out of
me.
survival.
Yes, I got out of survival. So that was good too. But I think it was go, guys, go.
Yes. That's amazing. I love it. You are so much fun. I'm really enjoying
Oh,
this
girl, you don't know the
conversation.
half of it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. That's great. But honestly, that's what it is. It's like full of life. And
Mhm,
that really comes down to it.
mhm,
It's not just about the pleasure. It's the pleasure of life
mhm.
because it can obviously be in the bedroom, but you're talking about embodying it and really having that oxytocin in your life. And, you can start
Yeah,
to enjoy the moments and there's more romance and joy in life in general. And that
mhm.
to me is life giving because when you're in the present moment, you have more of that life force vitality flowing.
Definitely. That's the heart connection.
Yeah.
You can't be somewhere else and connected in heart.
Oh, I love that. That is
Hmm.
so good. This
And
is amazing.
conscious
Yeah.
is we're here together in this moment. And we're not just connected to each other, we're connected to all. We're connected to Gaia, we're connected to Source, love making, orgasmic bliss, the conjoined trance state of pleasure.
Hmm.
These connect us to all that is conscious.
Yes.
And when
It's
you
that life
conceive
force.
your
Yeah.
baby with those, those qualities, you're making a beautiful baby.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I always say love is life-giving. It has that, there's a different energy. So it's kind of like, are you identified with just the material, the physical, or is there that something else? Because if we
Mhm.
were just physical, then cadavers would walk and they don't. And what is that extra something that makes us move and
Yeah.
that connection that warms our bodies? That's that life force chi
Yeah.
vitality. So we are
Yeah.
way more than that physical envelope that we're walking around in.
Exactly. I do love my chi.
Oh, yeah. The chi overflows.
Yeah.
Great. That is awesome. So for people listening to this that are like, I want more,
Yeah.
how can they find you? Like, how can they find your offerings? Give us all the things.
It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Betterlover.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I teach people how to do, is how to become a
Yeah.
better lover, because better lovers are made, not born. Some
Mm-hmm.
people have good
Love that.
kinesthetic skills, which helps. Some people have to develop that. But generally, anybody can make a baby. Procreation is not generally difficult. It's a penis and a vagina, some semen, and you get a baby. Sometimes you get more babies than you want, right? I mean, yes, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of things you can do. We live in a more stressful world now, but generally, it's a pretty straightforward process, but making love, having 20 kinds of orgasms, having skills, knowing your anatomy, how to know what you want and ask for it, how to do oral pleasuring, orgasmic intercourse, I mean, all the things. How to have a sex life that keeps getting better over time instead of swirling down the toilet doesn't come from doing tab A into slot B over and over and over again. It comes from having a sex life bucket list, having novelty and variety, being willing to communicate, being willing to learn, trying things, finding your freaks, and there's lots of them and they're fun and they change as you mature. You get better in bed as you get older. You get better at orgasming. You get better at everything. Good sex and being a better lover is a lifetime mastery opportunity, and one that keeps you living longer and having a healthier and happier life. Because when you extend your sex span, you extend your health span. So if you want to have a baby with this person and you want to have a great life together, having great intimacy is a cornerstone to keeping that going. So why not start with this opportunity where you have these windows to hit? Have fun in the windows.
Mm-hmm. I love it. This is
Good.
amazing. This is probably really
Michelle.
one of my top episodes. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
glad.
and you're really good at what you do and you're good at describing it. You really hit the points perfectly. So it was really enjoyable for me, I have to say.
Thank you. Me too.
I enjoyed it. I know that almost sounds like it has more meaning,
No,
a different kind of meaning.
Good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. So thank you so much, Susan, for coming on.
You, Michelle.
I really enjoyed this episode.
Me too. Thank you so much. Love you and love and appreciate all the work that you do.
Same here.